Hi, I'm Lance Bradley, the district's Public Information and Communications Specialist, and I'm here with Mr. Shad Kirkland, our Executive Director of Technology and Instruction. We're here to give you an update and an overview about the events that occurred on the evening of March 22nd, 2024, what we've labeled as a data breach. Now, this data breach affected a handful of our students. Our parents weren't directly affected, but it did affect a few of our employees as well. And Mr. Kirkland, being our leading technical expert at the district, as well as our executive director in the technology department who oversaw this event occur on Friday, he's going to share some details about what happened, what we can do in the future to prevent this, and then we're going to close out by discussing the future of the investigation, where the district is at currently as far as the investigation is concerned with law enforcement and the FTC. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Kirkland now.
Thank you, Mr. Bradley. I appreciate that. So first, before we get too much into the technical side of anything, I want to say thank you to all of those who engaged with us, the information that you provided, because it helped us fix a problem much faster than if we had to navigate it on our own. In most cases, a lot of times you don't find the issue until much later, and by that time the problem has grown exponentially. So Friday night at approximately 7:30 or 8 o'clock, we were notified that students were receiving emails from a trusted source. That trusted source happened to be staff members, teachers. And it was offering the opportunity for jobs. And students were to engage with it, fill out some personal information. And in most cases, a lot of cases, our students actually verified this back with their teachers that they received it from. Hey, I got this email, this sounds great. In which case the teacher said, I don't know what you're talking about, which caused us to get notified that something wasn't quite right. So the IT department got that notification somewhere between 8 and 8:30, which was great for us to be able to do, because we were able to get into our systems, identify what was being sent out exactly, verify that it was indeed not sourced by YCJUSD, identify it as spam, and start deleting it out of our system. So we're grateful for our students' ability to ask questions and in some cases contact the district office directly, because it allowed us to get started on this particular issue much sooner than as if it would have gone all the way through the night. So thank you for that piece of it. So here's what happened. A spammer out there, scammer, went ahead and assumed the identity of a couple of our staff members. That's called spoofing. You try to make yourself look like a trusted source. That particular person then was able to gain access to some of our student email accounts, and they were then sent emails. That's the phishing attempt part of it. So a phishing attempt is when a scammer sends information out, and it's usually very attractive in nature, and asks you to engage in it. Sometimes that engagement looks like personal information, like tell us about yourself, who are you, what do you do, how can I contact you, what's your date of birth, and in some cases it's also financial. In either case, we would advise you never engage with a source that you don't know is truly authentic. So because of that, some students were a little nervous about doing that, and they contacted school officials. So that's what caused us to get involved as quickly as we did. The good part is we were able to get in and identify that as spam and remove 90 to 95% of all those emails before students even had an opportunity to see them. We also went ahead that night and sent out a Parent Square notification saying, hey, be on the lookout, be alerted to the fact that if you get this, it is not us, it is a scam. So please don't engage with it. And then the next day we sent out an additional one asking for individuals who possibly did engage with it to let us know. In the meantime, we went through and we scanned all of our databases, all of our student accounts, and made sure that those emails were absolutely eradicated and didn't have a way to multiply through our systems.
So, Mr. Kirkland, how are we sure that our systems are clean now?
So we did probably a 3-tier system evaluation. So first of all, the IT department themselves, they went through and identified the senders and the recipients. We went through and removed all those emails in accordance to their subject lines. So those were all deleted to start with. We also shut down all of our accounts temporarily so that we could run systems checks, antivirus software on everything. We also contacted our cybersecurity protocol here in the county, as well as our support systems that we have from Amplified IT, which is our Google Admin Console. They also did their versions of the scans and agreed that all of our systems were clean and okay to start operations again. The good part from our side of things is none of our servers were ever breached. None of our student information systems, nothing in our human resources department, our business department, payroll, purchasing, none of those things were touched whatsoever, strictly our email system. So the good news is there was no information that was pulled out of the district other than just student email accounts. Then the scammers go ahead and send the attractive phishing email, which asks students to apply for a job, kind of an attractive looking job. Click on this link. That link usually does one of two things. It runs software in the background that could have malware or viruses on it. That doesn't appear to be the case on this one. Or it takes them to a document where they enter in personal information, which is what this one was, their name, their address, cell phone, email address, things like that. And then it gave them a task, and that task, unfortunately, had a financial component to it, to where they had to actually send off money. We didn't have very many students engage in that piece of it, but we are working through that issue with the people that we know that did.
So what should our parents, students, and even employees do in the future to help mitigate this issue?
So the first thing that we'd advise students and parents to do, and this is true not only of your student accounts, but obviously your after high school or after YCJUSD accounts, your personal accounts for the rest of your life, is if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. A lot of these phishing attempts, they're going to seem like they're very attractive. They want you to engage. They want you to click that attachment, that PDF or this file, because they're going to take you to something else where they're going to start getting the information that they actually want. So if it seems too good to be true, it is. Take your time, think about it. What are they offering you, and why would they be doing that particular thing? And it is okay to take a little bit of time to go ahead and research it. If you think it might be legit, there should be some contact information included in those emails. It's perfectly fine to Google it, look at it, see if it's legit. It's also probably appropriate to pick up the phone and call and verify. It's very common a lot of times with colleges. The scammers, they will try to mimic a college admissions office and say, hey, we need additional information. In some cases, it could be a Netflix account. It could be a lot of different things that are trying to get you to engage. All of those things, those companies, those agencies, they have phone numbers. They have a way to contact and verify the authenticity. So it's never a problem for you to pick up the phone, call and say, hey, I just got this. I want to verify it's truly from you. If you find out it's not, delete it from your trash and in your email system, and don't ever look back. If somebody really needs to get a hold of you, they'll reach out, they'll do it. The next thing we'd advise people to be aware of is a lot of these scammers, they have a lot of grammatical errors. So when you look through it, if you see words that are misspelled, if you see poor punctuation, or words just not in the right order, that's a pretty good sign that it's not legitimate. The next thing that we tell people to kind of look at is where it's being sent from. The Google account, the email account that it's coming from, because you may notice that the domain part of it, which is everything that comes after the @ sign, so at google.com, at gmail.com, at yahoo.com, there might be something different in that domain that separates it, because those companies do a real good job of trying to keep scammers out from using their systems as well. So they might do something like add a number, or instead of an S, a Z, or instead of a 0, they'll put an O. Little things like that would be a good telltale that it is not a legitimate email.
Well, thank you, Mr. Kirkland. So in closing, we just want to thank you again for reaching out to us, and those of you that were affected, letting us know so that we can include it in the investigation with the Sheriff's Department. And if there are questions that are left unanswered after this video, please feel free to reach out to myself or Mr. Kirkland. Our emails are going to be in the video description and the Parent Square message. So, and you can continue to use our contact_us at ycjusd.us to reach myself or the superintendent's office. And you can always call the district office during business hours at 909-797-0174. And you're also more than welcome to come into the district office at any time as long as we're open. So thank you again, and thank you, Mr. Kirkland. And if there are any others of you that have been affected and have reached out to us, please do so immediately.